Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our time together. I'm here. This is Lori Lamantia, and I'm here with the beautiful Tricia Fiske. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi, Al. Today, we're going to talk about a pretty powerful topic to me, and I think to Tricia too, about telling and writing and deciding about our abundance story. I think what I learned as I was writing Effortless Wealth was having a clear story or having a clear picture, almost narrative inside of us really can make a big difference as to how empowered and how abundant we really feel. That we do tell ourselves stories all the time, and sometimes they're not as productive as possible. So today we wanted to spend some time really clarifying and discussing the power of having an abundant story. Trish, how would you articulate this?
That I think it's important to decide to attract, allow, receive abundance from a joyful perspective,
Mhm.
and not as work or a task or yeah. I think for me, the whole thing needs to be approached with enthusiasm and joy.
Yes,
and
yes.
and and then that kind of sets the intention for what I'm really seeking to connect to is this faucet, constant turned on faucet of gratitude and joy, but in a real way, not just the words, not just,
Right.
because do you remember? I remember the gratitude thing was a big thing for a while where you were supposed to write down what you were grateful for and put it on your bathroom mirror
Hmm.
and say it like every day. And then it was going to be transformative. Well, for me, it wasn't because,
Hmm.
yeah, just saying it wasn't enough. And so I think the differentiating factor for me now is really tuning into it and feeling it, catching myself when I'm not, when I'm going negative,
Hmm.
which still happens. But then again, it's that thing about making a choice. Okay, do I want to go with lack and scarcity, or do I want to go with abundance? I think
And
I'll go with abundance,
yeah, right.
right?
If I got a choice, right, right. Why
Right.
wouldn't I take abundance or why wouldn't I take fun or why wouldn't I take joy? Absolutely. And I think sometimes it's as simple as that. And I think our abundance story is a reminder of that. And I do want to say that in the past, I think sometimes I thought I was telling an abundance story, but it was more like when I get, when I do,
Mm,
when I become, then. My abundance story definitely had a conditionality aspect to it. Like we've talked about this many times, but when I am good enough, then, or when I have earned enough credits with God. I have no idea what it
right.
was.
Right. What the
And
report card was.
right, exactly. A, B, D, D, D. Sorry. No abundance for you. Yeah, totally. And I think this new upgraded story, like you're talking about, is a joy story. It's a story that it was never in doubt. It's never in question. And so, us upgrading our abundance story to be more aligned to who and what we are and what we want to become, I think is such a valuable undertaking. And it could be just as simple as, this is what I want my new abundance story to be. It could be you actually writing it down. And like you said, not just talking about it, and putting it on a post-it on your because post-its you get numb to them. This isn't a
Right.
live story. This isn't like a one-shot deal. This is something we keep alive inside of our hearts and minds and bodies, an energy field, because it is alive until we, kind of numb out to it. And I think life, especially an abundance experience, is a moment to moment, ooh, yee, yeah, or just this, I feel good, or I feel at peace, or I'm excited about what's coming next. And, and it could just be, like you said, a good chai. Ooh, I can't wait to put my chai, it's
Right.
it's not always huge.
Right. And it's, once we've set that intention, then paying attention to stuff that's coming to us. Um, not even defining abundance and prosperity to
Right.
just money. There's so much more. It's like I have flowers on my back porch to attract hummingbirds. And
Hmm.
when I'm just sitting here and there they are, there's a couple, male, female, and they're enjoying the flower on my plant. I mean, that's a gift like every time.
Oh, and doesn't it like make your heart sing every time
Yeah,
a hummingbird
yes,
sighting is like you just won the lotto? That's the way I
I
feel whenever I
know.
see one. I'm like, oh my
I
gosh, they're
know.
so beautiful. They're so amazing.
Right. And I like the little yellow finches too. I have zinnias. They love them. They actually
Hmm.
like eat them. And
Hmm.
again, male and female will come and I start seeing the flowers shake, and then I see the little yellow, and it just makes me so happy, right? It's like,
Yes.
oh, they're
Right.
eating, right?
Yes. And I think this is part of our abundance story too, is the opportunity to really flesh it out in a way that is more full. It is all encompassing of who we are and what brings us joy, and a lot of times I've been watching some movies and they give you ideas about what you want for your abundance story, but it's up to us to weave the one that speaks to our heart. And I think sometimes
Mm.
that's why some of like the gratitude journals, which I think are fabulous, but they're about us trying to figure it out instead of us really listening to the wisdom within that is giving us our unique abundance story, the things that excite us. And that's a little different.
It is. And right. It's that looking to the self for the answer instead of something outside of me for the answer. Um, when I was doing the Four Desires 40-day practice, one of the things at the end of every meditation, we would just ask, so what's to be done? Like, so for today at this time. And it wasn't always, oh, go out and apply for a job kind of thing, or, go. It was often call so and so because you haven't talked to them in a while and just see how they're doing, or
Hmm.
smile at your neighbor, or put a plant out. You know what I mean? Even speaking personally again, when I ask the question, like, what must be done? My mind says, oh, it's a task I have
Right.
to do.
Dishes,
Right,
call the
right,
insurance company,
right.
put the garbage
Clean the
out.
house. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Instead of just, yeah, go smile at your neighbor, go
Maybe
say
it's
hi.
what abundance play could be available now. Kind of maybe up shifting the question a little so it speaks to your heart. Because done feels to me like a mind question. Inspiration feels like a heart, something for
Mm,
me. So kind of knowing yourself and how you react to certain words helps a
right.
tremendous amount. I was
Yes.
doing a receiving workshop last week for 3 days, and I do want to come back to receiving for sure. And I think receiving absolutely would be brilliant to put in your abundance story that I receive easily and effortlessly and unconditionally. Um,
Mm,
and one of the things about the receiving workshop that the my teacher was saying was about taking, getting comfortable with taking. And boy, and in this like circle, she had a circle, and on the opposite side of taking was receiving. And I still have real strong reaction to the word take. And I was talking to Mark, and he had a giant reaction. It's just interesting how words can, quote unquote, put us in a certain energy place.
Right. They
And
can be
so
very triggering. Yeah.
yes, absolutely. So I think finding words that and receiving might not be a great word for you. Gratitude. I had a real strong reaction to those words. So they probably, even though I think I should put them in my abundance story, I don't want to because I have history with them. So I would pick words for my abundance story that feel good in my whole energy system, that feel good not only in my head, so that my head can allow myself to enjoy. So enjoy happens to be a great word in my abundance story. Magic, the word abundance or prosperity. Some people, might not put money in their story, even though it's, put it in there with the excitement of the word. So really choosing the story very mindfully, really, I think is a good idea. So you can pay attention to the words that you're deciding about.
Right. For me, a really important word is relax.
Right. Beautiful word.
It's right that it's not all this effort or
Right.
this constant be alert, kind
Right.
of thing. That it's
Yeah.
like just chill,
It's
right?
funny. It's funny you were mentioned relax because the word that almost for me always pops in is easy. I love the word easy. And I know for a lot of people, easy would be like, oh, that not a that you're that's a lazy word, right? Um, and so, finding those words that allow you access to a new form of story for yourself today and going forward. And I know we're talking about words and we've talked about words before, but we want them to trigger quote unquote good things, right? A lot of people use the word trigger negatively, like, don't use that trigger word, which is okay. That shows that we have an understanding of the concept, but choosing words that really, wake up that joy, enthusiasm, love that word, whatever words wake up and trigger joy too, it could, and that's partly understanding who we are. This is a self-awareness practice. The
Yes.
abundance journey is. It's a huge awareness practice, self-appreciation practice, and supportive practice. I don't think we should think that abundance is a selfless act. And that was one of the things I was getting last week with the receiving thing is that, I can't receive until, there's so much baggage around the word receiving. That's not what this abundance story is about. It's not about clearing out your baggage. It's just saying, oh, I see that and I choose this instead.
Right, right, right.
So as people, and I do think writing your abundance story is, the new one. And if you want to write the old one or the old whatever, and then say, this is what I choose instead, I think that's very powerful. You could take whatever old ideas you had and upgrade them or change them or remove them. But I do think it's worthwhile to sit down and actually write out, this is what I want my abundance story to sound like and feel like and experience for myself.
I don't think for most of us don't understand how powerful we are as creators of our own life and the story of our lives.
Completely.
And yeah,
Amen,
and
sister. I totally agree.
so doing that, looking at how I looked at this, I love going back to my old journals and reading what I wrote a couple years ago and looking at it now. I love doing that because it's an opportunity to see how my thinking has changed, my allowing myself has changed, my gentleness with myself,
Mm,
for um,
mm,
even to the point of being able to look at some past mistakes and saying, oh, I totally get why I did that. I totally
oh,
get why I did that.
beautiful. What a
Yeah, I
grace
was looking
thing.
for
It's
an answer.
beautiful.
Yeah. So looking at, yes, what we had chosen in the past and then making a decision about, is that what I still want, or now do I want this endless flow of joy and gratitude and
Mhm.
abundance and prosperity with enthusiasm. And
Right.
yeah,
I
right.
think, and I can't remember if you said this before we started or since we started, but that faucet, having the faucet feel just, overflowing and on all the time.
Right.
And I don't know, did you ever see the movie Under the Tuscan Sun? Uh,
Yes. Several times.
Isn't
Yeah.
it? It's just the perfect metaphor of this, right? She gets to, I don't know if people have watched it, but it's with Diane Lane, and she goes to Italy and buys a house, and there's a book under the same name. But the beautiful thing about the movie is when she moves into this old house in Italy, there's this little faucet that's at the wall, and it doesn't work. It doesn't even have a drip, and she's like, I don't understand, she was like, I don't understand how this thing is even here, right? And over the course of the movie, the faucet starts to drip a little bit more and a little bit more. And then at the end, it's on full blast because she's on full blast. She has gone from a divorce and feeling like so bad that she had to run away from her life to Italy. Pretty great choice, by the way. And then
Yeah.
at the end, she has a full-on experience of joy and home and family and friends, and the faucet is just pouring. And I don't know, I've just always been touched by that whole transformative power of, living your life to its fullest. So the faucet on is one of the greatest metaphors I think we can add to our story, and felt sense about our story, not just a mind story, but what does it feel like to have the faucet, allowing the full flow of life through you, you know, that that felt sense is, I think, one of the greatest parts of putting our story together.
Mm.
Hummingbird moments. I want my
Right.
life to feel
Right.
like a hummingbird moment. It doesn't even have to be a long story, a quick sentence like that. My life is, hummingbird moment after hummingbird moment of unexpected beauty and surprise. I think I think us upgrading and consciously choosing our abundance story that talks to ourselves is a really valuable and undertaking. And that's what we wanted to express today. Do you think, when you said when you were talking, I felt like you have upgraded your abundance story as you look back in your old journals. Would you agree to that? Would you agree that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Are you surprised by
And
that?
yeah,
Oh,
but pleasantly,
yeah.
pleasantly surprised.
And could you have, one of the other cool things is, would you have ever thought you'd be here based on what you saw in your journals back there?
No. Um, no, I expected things to be really, really different. The focus of my life is different from what I expected. I expected at this age I would be retired and taking care of somebody.
Mm,
And that's nothing like what my life is like at all. Um, every now and then, I'll admit, because of my age, and I'm not going to share what it is.
okay. Check. I won't
Yeah,
ask.
right.
Don't even go there.
I start to think, excuse me, that maybe the way the world has changed and the way the yoga world has really shifted since post COVID and stuff, that maybe I'm not as relevant as I used to be, because I used to always feel like I was right in the thick of everything. But every time I start to think about stepping back, something pulls me back in. Um,
Mhm.
and I think, no, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm not going anywhere. So yeah, it's
Mm.
again, my head messing with that old story of what my life should look like now, and the truth of what it does, and how it's not stopping.
Right, the flow. The
The
flow
flow
doesn't
is the
cut,
faucet's not
doesn't
being turned off, right?
right. And that feels like an old story that, like as you get older, the flow would stop. Why? That's Why would we give
Right.
into that old idea? You know,
Right.
and I think that's a perfect example of some old story that we might have just taken on because it was historic or we saw it happen to other people or our family or you get bombarded with it by society, but that doesn't have to be our story, you know,
Right.
and I do think it's courageous to say I'm open to a new story. And then I love that you had journals that reminded you of the old story, and then you get to see, oh wow, you know, that things are different than I would have wrote or what I expected was written. You know, and I
Right.
think that putting that story or writing this journal down now and then seeing what it looks like in 5 years might be even more cool. You know, oh,
Right.
unexpected possibilities and joys that came through.
Right. Because I gave them permission to, because I decided to align myself with those stories rather than the old ones.
Right.
It,
Bring,
it
right,
really does need to be a choice. It really does.
right.
It needs to
And a
be a choice.
creation. You know, I liked your word
Yes.
creation. I realized when I was in the receiving workshop, one of the reasons why I moved away from receiving was because I felt I wasn't sure if I wanted to receive the things people, you know, life, the things life was going to thrust on me. So I moved into more of a creating mode because it felt more empowered.
Ah,
And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. And I think it could be an, you know, I think my upgrade is an and. I am a creator and I receive, you know, unexpected and expected. I receive joy with enthusiasm, you know, and I don't want just these to be words, you know, because when I write my abundance story, I want it to be from my heart. I want it to be a full-bodied embodiment of a story, not just something I tell, you know, it from the mind, but I would love them to be working in concert, my mind and my heart agreeing. And I think when I write children's books, that's when I'm totally in that zone. You know, I'm like, I get to talk about birds and fish and them playing and, you know, having adventures. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm, you know, 5 again and having a great time. That feels to me um um like a beautiful abundance experience.
lovely. Yeah.
I'm almost upgrading my idea now from abundance story to abundance felt sense life experience. You know, not
I
just
like that.
a
Yes.
story, but a whole
Not my
body,
story, but my life, my life.
my life embodiment, you know, the thing I get to dance and play with. Oh, see, that's interesting. It really felt like it dropped down from it being a head thing into
A heart thing.
a heart. Yeah. And I know when you teach yoga, you're fully embodied in it. And it would be well, I'll speak for myself. It would be terrible to lose you as, you know, the master teacher that's able to bring me into my body, my full body experience. You know, my wholeness shows up when I attend your classes, you know, and that would be a shame for people to lose, especially if you've invested so much loving intention and attention into becoming a master teacher. I can't imagine why that you would want to retire from that. So please don't.
Well, I'm not going to be right.
Okay, good. I'm glad we took care of that
Right.
story. Oh,
Yeah.
look at us solving the word problems.
Right.
Um, I appreciate that very much. So, um, as you, I hope, I feel like we've kind of done a little bit of a deep dive into this notion of an abundance story and remembering that we had old stories and old notions, and they do, and I think this is the part that I really wish for everybody to feel is when you do put yourself in that place of I'm available and enthusiastically available for my abundance to flow, it does take us on unexpected places. The journey is
Yes.
always unexpected, but I think the one thing I'm really embracing, and I think you even articulated just in this story, was it takes you in a way that in an even better place than you could have ever imagined. you're in that place you are now, you're still, teaching, you're finding more venues to bring your wisdom, and you aren't retired and taking care of someone. That's pretty dang awesome.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
So
I agree.
I
The
think
one I'm
it's
a, the, yeah, the one I am agreeing to more and more is I relax.
yes.
Just relaxing about the whole thing. Um, and receiving. Yeah. So,
Yeah, like we did last week, relax and receive, relax and
right.
receive,
And
and
that's
receive
why
the unconditional.
everybody's story, it needs to be their own. We're all unique and different. Anatomically, we're all unique and different. Emotionally, we're all unique and different. Intellectually, we're all unique and different. And so, this book you're writing of your life needs to be your original story.
Right, completely, completely. And you never know where it could take you. It could take you to Italy for fixing a new house. It could take you in your
Right.
backyard, being a hummingbird appreciator. It could take you to, the simple things of life too, like
Right.
a beautiful chai or a wonderful conversation with a friend, and going and following more of that. The inspirations are, I think, what cultivates a giant, beautiful life. And it's
Yes.
okay to cultivate a giant, beautiful life that is abundant. Please, if you take nothing away from this half an hour, it's that it's okay to cultivate an abundant story that you find just thrilling and fun and amazing. It's okay for you to do that for you.
Amen to that.
Right. Absolutely. We are going to end with I don't know if there's
Yes.
anything else you wanted to add, but we are going to end with that prayer from the book. Why don't you say the book again and the author?
Yeah. The book is It's Not Your Money: How to Live Fully from Divine Abundance by Tasha Silver. And I love this. Divine Beloved, allow me to give with complete ease and abundance, knowing that you are the unlimited source of all. Let me be an easy, open conduit for your prosperity. Let me trust that all my own needs are always met in amazing ways, and that it's safe to give freely as my heart guides. And equally, let me feel wildly open to receiving. May I know my own value, beauty, and worthiness without question. Let me allow others the supreme pleasure of giving to me. May I feel worthy to receive in every possible way. Change me into one who can fully love, forgive, and accept myself, so I may carry your light without restriction. Let everything that needs to go, go. Let everything that needs to come, come. I am utterly your own. You are me. I am you. We are one, and all is well.
Beautiful. Wow. That's really, really lovely. That could almost be a launching for the structure of an abundance story,
Right. Yes.
if
So
people wanted it.
so one of the things I'm going to encourage everybody as you're looking at all these things, look at how open you are to receiving.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sing as you mentioned that. One of the sentences in that prayer about while comfortable,
Wildly.
yeah, but comfortable receiving from others. What's that sentence? Um, I I receive easily from others.
Yeah.
And that when
Let
people,
me feel, there's a couple. Let me feel wildly open to receiving, and let me allow others the supreme pleasure of giving to me.
yes,
Yeah.
that's one I'm still working on. The supreme pleasure of giving to me. And I think that's where the take thing too, that I'm willing to take what they give instead of going, no, thanks, I'm fine. You know,
Right.
a friend of mine was talking about how she got a beautiful compliment and she actively had to not go, oh, well, this old thing, don't worry about it. Instead, just stand there and take in receive the compliment, and taking it in is our choice, and letting it bounce off of us is a choice. So I love that you're saying that, the relaxed part, but the receive part is a part of the abundance story. It it because we can cultivate all the abundance we want, but if we can't welcome it, bring it in, allow it, whatever words you want to play with, but let it seep in. It's only it's like a half of the yin and the yang. It's salt without pepper. It's, it's the whole seasoning isn't complete. The cycle, the circle. So
Right.
give it some thought, everyone, and let yourselves play. Play with your new abundance story it touches your heart and it feels like a full embodiment to you. We wish you a lot of wonder as you play with this, and have a wonderful week of creating and constructing and taking a deep dive into your new abundance felt sense story. Namaste, everyone. Have a great week.
Swaha.
We love you tons. Take care.